Hello and welcome back to the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. I'm very excited today to be sharing with you the release of our Crafter's Sketchbook. We're going to take a close-up look at this new tool. I can't wait to share with you all the features and function of this book and how it's going to help you sketch out your cards, plan out new cards, and remember card ideas that you have seen. So this is the box that the card making sketchbook comes in, and you can see sketch, plan, and create. This is a large planner. It is a 9.5 by 11-inch book. The pages inside are 7 1/4 by 10 1/4, which is really nice because you want to be able to capture all of your crafty goodness for each card, and you'll see how you can do that right now. Here is the book, and you can see the binding is a heavy, sturdy silver coil. The cover on both sides is laminated and very sturdy, so it's not going to fall apart on you. On the inside, we have very first a pocket page that holds a stencil. The stencil is such a cool feature of this book because it has a ruler on it that measures 9 inches plus a lot of little stencil pieces that are great for planning out your cards. Rectangles, squares, circles, flowers, stars, hearts, all those basic shapes that are really going to help you if you're not the best at drawing, which I'm not either, but I'm okay with that when I'm sketching. Next, we have our cover page, which allows you to write your name in the front, which I love, reminds me of when I was little and writing my name in my books. The other thing I love about this is that on each tab divider, you have a mat guide. This is going to show you the different size panels that you can use with a mat measurement to layer up your cards, which is going to keep them clean and crisp. And each measurement is color coordinated with the diagram. When you flip the tab back to the A2 size pages, you can see your sketch boxes there. They have an outline and then they have a mat, and then there's grid lines inside, which helps you to easily plan out where things are going to go, keeping them inside the grid and even with proportions. There's also a spot at the top for you to write what the project is for. Maybe it's a birthday card, or maybe you're on a design team and you want to remember who that card is for. You can write the date, and there's a place for your color palette as well as taking notes. And in that section, you can write all the things you want to remember about that card. Then you can see there are tons of pages in each section. The next section is for A7 cards. So those are your 5 by 7 cards. Again, we have our color coordinated panel guide and map measurements to take the guesswork out of it for you. And you have your vertical cards and your horizontal cards, the vertical on the back and the horizontal on the front of each page. And every section is going to have the same features: a place for notes, a place for your color palette, your date, and all of those good things. Then we have our mini slimline section. So those are 3 by 6 cards, your color coordinated panel guide with matte measurements as well. So here you can see you've got your vertical cards, and on the back your horizontal cards, and that makes it really easy for you to be able to go between the different sizes and different orientations of cards. The next section is slimline. So those are your 8.5 by 3.5 inch cards. You have the color coordinated mat guide for you, and then you'll see these pages are a little different in that the vertical and horizontal grids are on the same page, and this is just so that we can make the best use out of the space on the page. And you can see this section, as with all the others, has so many pages in it. You're not going to run out of pages in this planner, this sketchbook, for a while. Next, we have our dotted grid pages. This is for you to do any other sketch. So maybe you want to work on your shape cards. You can do that in this section. And when you're ready and need a new book, you have the Trinity Stamps contact information right there. So there's the back cover, and you can see how nice and what high quality this book is. It's going to stand the test of time and being flipped open and used right there on your craft desk a lot. So now let's take a look at this book in action. action. Here you can see some sketches that I've done and the cards that resulted from that sketch. So I've made notes and arrows pointing to the objects on my sketch, and then I can capture the name of the stamp set, I can capture the name of stamp pads, the name of accessories, any ideas, like maybe I want a gift card to go in the pocket. And then you can see where I've used my color palette. I've just swiped my ink pad right on the page, and I've put a little scrap of cardstock right on the page, especially if it's something that's specialty, and that helps me get like a really good look at my color palette. And now you can see I am not the best artist, but when I'm doing a sketch, it is not about the quality of the picture, it's just capturing the idea and capturing information so that I can go back to this and remember it when I am making a video or when I am making a blog post, or if I want to make that card again. And here's one that is a 5x7, and anytime I'm showing a card, if I have the finished card available in a picture, I'm sharing it with you so you can see how the end result is. I think this is another great tool you could use if you like watching YouTube videos or you follow along on Instagram. You're going to see card ideas that inspire you to create, and you could capture those in this book as well. So it is a great tool for those of you that maybe come up with your own brilliant ideas or fun ideas, or when you get inspired by someone else, or even maybe something in a magazine, you can capture it here, come back to it later. And if you've made a card that you really love, you can always use your planner to capture that sketch, maybe for the exact same card, or maybe you want to make a card that's similar with the same layout. So there's a lot of ways that you can use this, and I think it's going to be a really good tool for all card makers. I've been using it for a few months now, and I am in love with it, and I'm using it regularly to sketch out my ideas. And I have always done this, but I've used just plain paper. So having it all in one place in such a well thought out and organized book, I just love. Okay, now we're going to sketch out a card and we're going to make it. So when I do this, I love to use a pencil because then I can erase things and change things when I need to. So my card that I'm going to make today is with this brand new stamp set, Influential Teacher. So I'm just going to write out that sentiment right on the front. I'm trying to keep it to size. I don't always get it perfect, but for me, like I said, it's not about capturing it exactly to size. It's not about my sketching being cute. It's just about getting that idea out onto the paper. And any ideas that I might have, like I wanted my background to have a chalkboard look. I do use a lot of arrows to point to my notes or have my notes point to a certain part on the card. And that helps me remember why I wrote that certain note. Also, I like to write down the name of products because sometimes when I am doing a voiceover, it's really hard for me to remember what certain things are called because in our industry, our little embellishments, our ink pads have really fun names. So I like to be able to write that down and I can find it and refer to it easily for my video. Also, sometimes when I am doing a card, my idea will develop over time. It will kind of morph. I will think of something new I can add as I'm creating. So I can go back to my sketchbook and add those ideas in as well. So one of my ideas, like I mentioned, was that the background of my card would kind of look like a chalkboard, but I wanted it to be the old school dark green. So that's why I added white ink to that green piece of paper. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and stamp out the image that was the inspiration for my card. And I have the image here for you to see. It's a really fun new addition from the Love Danny collection of stamps. I'm going to use these Copic markers right here to color out the image. It's a very simple image to color, but the thing I love the most about these images from Love Danny is that they include the sentiment and the artwork all in one. I think it's such a fun style. I love all of her images and I have to collect them all. So I'm excited to have a new one. And I'm just doing two colors, so two shades of yellow, two shades of pink, and keeping this really simple. My color palette is inspired by that pencil right there on the page. And something about that pencil is there is a die to cut it out, but it is with a die set that isn't specifically for this stamp. It's really a die set that has two stamps that coordinate with it. And I'll show you the second one shortly as we get going through this card. So here it is right here. It's the Cool Clipboard die set, and it has this large pencil die that you can use to cut out the pencil in this set. And I think that's fun because I like paper piecing and I like things to have dimension. So not only could I use this pencil on something else, but I'm going to paper piece it onto my little cutout here, which I am fussy cutting because there's no die for this, but that's okay. I'm okay with fussy cutting some of the time. So I did that, and then as my card making was progressing, I had some more ideas. So I knew that I was going to cut this out, so I kind of sketched that on there because I decided to add another layer behind that, and that's a little piece of notebook paper because we have this really cute new notebook paper stamp set that coordinates with the die cut piece of paper from the Cool Clipboard. I also thought I need to add some gold stars to this as I was coloring out the stars, so I made a note of that. So here is the mini notebook paper stamp set, and you can see the Cool Clipboard has this piece of paper die. So I die cut that out first, and now I'm going to stamp it, and I cannot even tell you how happy stamping this little piece of paper makes me. I think one of the reasons that I love paper so much is from school supplies. They just made me so happy to have my little notebook with my paper in it, or my spiral notebook, my Trapper Keeper. I love school supplies, all things paper. So I stamped out the lines that go on there in turquoise ink, and then you've got the one single line that kind of divides the rest of the paper from the holes in the paper, and I'm using coralberry ink for that and stamping that with a block. It just seemed easier to me to line it up on the block. So I did that, and it is the cutest thing ever. So that's going to layer up on my card as well. And as I was going, I wanted to make sure I wrote down what colors I used, so the next time I want to stamp that notebook paper, I have this written down and I can remember those colors I used for the next time. So there's also a paper clip stamp in, or die in this die set, that I thought would go really good with this card. So I added that, and then it's time to put all the things together. So right away I knew I wanted this card to be a full panel shaker. So I have the A2 layer shaker pouches from Trinity. They are 4 inches by 5 1/4. So you're going to be able to stick this down onto a A2 size card and have a border around the edge. I love it so much that I have a border. This is probably my favorite shaker pouch right now because of that. I love having a border on the edge of my cards. So I folded back 3 sides, sticking it down to our rip and stick tape, and used my Teflon crease tool to really make sure those stick down. And there you can see the embellishments I decided to use. Actually the clay pencils are the thing that inspired me to make a full panel shaker to go with that new stamp set. But then, you know, gold stars, I had to add that because there's stars on the stamped image too. So we'll mix those together in the tidy tray and then dump them in and seal up that top flap. And again, pushing it down with that crease tool is so very helpful. So there's my background, and now we can start adding all the things on top. So first thing is going to be that way too cute notebook paper, and I'm going to put that at a little angle, and then my sentiment I'm popping up onto the front with some foam squares, and it just looks so cute. I love the dark green contrast behind this versus a traditional black chalkboard look. And then I'm going to add my little paper clip that I die cut from some brushed silver cardstock. And then the pencil, I decided to cut out a plain pencil with no stamping on it and have that give my pencil just a touch of dimension instead of, you know, full on dimension with a piece of foam tape. And then I'm adding a couple of those gold stars to the outside that are from my shaker. For the base of my card, I've got my white A2 size card base, and I'm adding to that a piece of brown textured cardstock. I wanted it to have a little bit more I don't know, vibrancy to it, I guess. So I added walnut stain ink around the edge to darken it up. Plus it helps those textured lines really show up when you just drag the stamp head on there. It's so old school, I know, but I love that look on certain cards, and it was the perfect thing for this card. So there is my shaker. I did use a white gel pen and a silver gel pen to add some highlights to this. I love that look. It just brings it to life. So I did that. You can see that in this close-up look right here. And then the pencil, like the wooden part, I did not color, so I had to go back and color that in because it was too white. It was really bothering me. So I did that with my E53 Copic marker. I did write down all the Copic markers I used again so I could color my pencil the same exact way another time. So I've got that information captured in my sketchbook, and it's a great tool to reference back to. So this is the Crafter's Sketchbook. I love it so very much, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video. You've learned a little something. If you have questions about this sketchbook, please leave them in the comments below, and I will answer them as soon as I can. Plus, I would really love to know what you think of this new tool and if it's something that you would use. So let us know, and we will be back again with a new video for you very soon. Thanks so much for watching, and happy stamping. Bye!